The SITREP podcast is sponsored by Blacksite Studio, the creators of incredible pre-colored terrain. Whether you're looking for terrain in 28 or 15 millimeter, they have a wide selection just for you. No matter the type of game, Blacksite Studio has exactly what you are looking for. They have new releases all the time, and their catalog continues to grow. So the next time you're considering new terrain, jump over to Blacksite Studio, and you will find just what you need. Remember to let them know you heard from us. Blacksite Studio, the official sponsors of the SITREP podcast. You are listening to the SITREP podcast, your home for everything related to modern wargaming. Whether it's reviews, rules, analysis, play-by-plays, hobby time, or even gameplay videos, we will bring it all to you. And now for your hosts. From England, we have Ralph. From the Great White North of Canada, Chris. Our historical editor, Big Jim Oriskany, and G, both from the United States. And now, sit back, relax, and get ready for the ultimate ride into modern wargaming.
Hello, everybody. This is G, and you're listening to the SITREP podcast. And today we've got a full table. And with us, as always, is Ralph from merry old England.
Hey, folks.
And Jim from sunny Florida. It is sunny today, isn't it, Jim?
Oh, it's gorgeous today. Yep.
Yeah, rub it in. I'm looking out the window, and it's rainy and miserable and cold. And
we have like 72-degree weather, and I should be at the beach right now.
Yeah, rub it in. Yeah, I know. It sounds like England right now, where I'm at. It looks like, I could just hop on a plane and be in England, and it would look the same. And then with us today is a very special guest. This week, I've had a guest stay with us to experience a traditional American holiday of Thanksgiving. Gaz has come all the way over from England. Say hello, Gaz.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Okay, so I know you guys on the other side might have a little trouble hearing Gaz. I'll try to make sure that he speaks up loudly so Ralph and Jim can hear him. But we've got a lot to talk about. But first, I wanted to wish everybody a happy holiday season. As the Americans have just rolled through Thanksgiving, and we're now starting our Christmas Yuletide celebrations around the world. And we wanted to send a shout out to all the military members of all countries deployed around the world who couldn't be home for the holidays with their family. So, Jim, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was all right. Can't complain.
Yeah, good. Ralph, I know you celebrate Thanksgiving as well because your wife is from the United States. And you do it today? Is that...
She's from Ohio, so tomorrow we're going to do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to do it tomorrow. So I've got the turkey. Well, not the turkey. I've got the turkey breast and all the bits to do. So yeah, that's
Very
tomorrow.
Nice. Very nice. So, Gaz, we're going to ask you, what did you think of your first American Thanksgiving?
Well, I ate until my pants burst, so I think it went down pretty well.
That's the most important part.
That's right. So, in true America tradition, we exposed Gaz to the American Thanksgiving, and we did it in the right order. We did guns, and then we did turkey. So, on Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we took him to an indoor range, and he got to shoot. What did we shoot? We shot my AR-15.
Very nice weapon system.
We shot my M1A Scout model in 308, which is an amazing rifle. We shot my lever-action Henry rifle in 357.
Peacemaker.
We shot a 45 long Colt Peacemaker.
A Henry, like Martini, like Old West rifle.
Old West lever-action rifle.
Nice.
Yep. So we shot that. We shot my 45 long Colt 6 Peacemaker. We shot my Springfield XD-M match grade pistol. That's my duty pistol. We shot my XD backup gun. We shot my SIG. I think that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. Although we nearly shot something if they'd have had the ammo.
Yes. So, because Gaz is a very bad influence, every time I go into a store, because this is America, we went into a gun store just to pick up some ammo, and sitting on the shelf was an 1865 Remington rolling block breech loading 4570 rifle. So And I'm like, it's kind of beat up, but it has potential. So I ended up buying a 1865 Remington Rolling Block 4570 rifle. We were going to shoot it at the range, but the ammo they had was too powerful. It would have blown up the rifle, so we have to go get some regular government loads. So that one we did not get to shoot.
But it's got a pretty bayonet.
It's got a big-ass bayonet on it, so I can't believe they would actually use these things in war. So, I mean, the thing with the bayonet was probably 6 feet long, so...
It wouldn't fit in your gun case.
No, I had to buy a special gun case because it wouldn't fit in my gun cases I currently had. So, that was exposure for Gaz to good old America. Thanksgiving. Guns, turkey, and
Apparently,
gaming, right?
God bless America.
That's right. God bless America. Well, all right, guys. Let's get kicking into some modern stuff. I got my cup of Lifer juice here. Gaz is drinking Coke Zero, essentially. I'm assuming, Ralph, you got a cup of brew?
I haven't, but I don't need one at the moment. But I'm fine.
So I learned the proper terminology.
I don't normally drink when I speak.
I learned the proper terminology from Gaz that, it's not a cuppa, it's a brew. To which here in America, a brew for us is either coffee or a beer. So, it took a little bit. For an English guy, he talks awfully funny. You think you talk English, but, I don't know what they're talking. Anyway, so we got a lot.
He talks funny. I'm from the north of England, so
Unfortunately, so am I.
and it's cuppa up here. That's what my dad says. Do you want a cuppa? So it's cuppa up here.
Anyways, so let's talk about some gaming related stuff. Speaking of brew and coffee, while I was getting ready for this podcast, I don't normally, talk about other companies, but if you guys have not seen the most recent video from Black Rifle Coffee Company about the last cup of coffee, you've got to watch the video. It's hilarious. So their coffee's very good. If you like coffee that will take the paint off the walls, it's very good. They have very strong coffee, but the video is amazing. So anyways, check it out if you want a good laugh. And especially if you're in the military, you will totally get it. So check it out if you get a chance.
Jay, before we're
Yeah, go ahead.
in any of the other topics, there is a little bit of news dropped this past week.
Okay,
I don't
go
know if you
for
saw
it.
it.
Yeah, go for it.
Spectre announced that they're moving their resins for their vehicles to another company.
Oh, really? Was there any
Which will it's going to allow them to do more, so they'll have more in stock.
Good, because I was.
But also, they said when this happens, I'm assuming it's probably going to be in the new year. They didn't put a time frame on it. That there's going to be some re-releases. Of course, they're going to re-release stuff that's been out of stock for a while.
Okay.
There's going to be some new vehicles.
Excellent. Well, I hope they get their
But
supply.
it didn't say what.
Yeah, I hope they get their supply issue fixed because I was literally on it last 2 days looking to put an order in because they have their Black Friday sale, and everything that I've pretty much wanted in some aspects is sold out again. I mean, as soon as they restock, it pretty much sells it right out.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they'll up their inventory a little bit. So we'll have to see. But I just got some Spectre minis in. I got the Rangers.
It's a nice set.
I want to get the DevGru and some SAS anti-terrorism. I've been painting up the MENA forces, and like I said, it's some Taliban. So, but yeah, that's exciting news. So
yeah, I've got the post here. I'll actually read what the said is. Just a heads up from us before Black Friday, we have made the decision to move resin production out of house. The demand for the resin products, mainly vehicles and scenery, has been so high that our miniature designer, who is hard casting every single piece, isn't having time to make new miniature releases. It's amazing that you all want these vehicles, but we feel that you deserve the best quality and stock levels, which our new supplier will be able to provide. So in the meantime, resin products will be out of stock. So they're out of stock for the moment, but when they return, they will be accompanied by a few brand new releases, along with some old favorites that have been in production for a while.
Cool.
We
That's
promise
good news.
it's going to be worth the wait.
Excellent.
And also, Stephen released a new green on their Instagram. They're doing another Baba Yaga miniature.
Really?
Yes.
Excellent.
There's a new green. There's a new Green coming of a new version of Baba Yaga. So it's a different sculpt than the one that you got. Was it at the US shows they did at Adepticon, where they released Baba Yaga first?
Yeah, yep.
And then they dropped it at Salute, didn't they? So they're doing a new one.
That's excellent. I know another
there's a little
company was doing another edition of that as well. You know, John Wick based. It was hassle free. I can't remember.
Yeah, hassle free have released a green of a John Wick they're doing.
Yeah.
And there's another one as well, which looks slightly different. There's another company doing one as well. So
excellent. So let's talk a little bit of hobbies. So Ralph, what have you been up to recently?
Yeah, seeing Jim's really wonderful HK ops and making me jealous that I didn't get around to doing ours, but the one I want to do because of life.
Yeah.
As we know, I've started writing up some stuff to possibly do in the new year. I backed a Kickstarter this year from a company called, and I'm just going to bring the page up, called Black Cat Gaming, and they're doing an espionage game called the Spy Game.
Okay.
So it's you basically play action. I think Tom Clancy, James Bond sort of thing. It's based on the 5e rules, which are D&D 5th edition.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the beta rules. It doesn't come out until September, but I've got the beta rules. So I'm busy writing up some ideas and some things to possibly run a one-shot to see what people think of the rule system. But we'll see what goes on. But I quite like it because it is D&D. It is 5th edition. It's what I play. Not this. It's going to be, standard D&D, roll a D20, things like that. But it's all set in a sort of a spy thing. So I've got an organization worked out where the players would work for a spy agency. Okay. But the spy agency won't be linked to any government. They'll probably be linked to the United Nations, which would allow then people from different nationalities.
Uh-huh.
So you're not limited to, say, playing the CIA, NSA, DEA, MI6, SJ, any of those. You can all be of different nationalities to come together to assist in protecting the world from threats that the UN sort of pick up on. But like there was a Wesley Snipes film called Act of War, where he worked for similar sort of thing. The agency he worked for was technically linked to the United Nations, so that type of thing. But I've got some idea. I'm busy putting down and getting them together.
Very cool. Be interesting to see how that turns out for you. So, Jim, you've been kind of busy lately as well.
Yeah, can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Yep.
All right, I had to move to another room and jump to another network. I'm still having pretty significant internet problems. So if you guys didn't notice I was gone, all the better, but I'm back now. Sorry if I missed anything.
No, just talking, catch up on a hobby. So I know you've been working on some miniatures, and then, you have your HK Ops. So why don't you fill us in on what's been going on with you?
Yeah, so with a lot of the time off I've had lately at work, I've been able to put some time actually in hobby for the first time pretty much all year. Yeah, there's that Team Yankee army that I've been talking about for a while. I say Team Yankee. The miniature sets are 15 millimeter, 1 to 100 from Battlefront, originally for Team Yankee. The Rhines Leathernecks set, and also the LAV platoon, the U.S. Marine Corps 15 millimeter platoon. And rather than build them as U.S. Marines in a theoretical 1985 Germany, like we see in Team Yankee, I've just gone ahead and built them in desert colors, and then done some kit bashing to kind of update the vehicles, where required to make them historically accurate for 1991 Gulf War. Those are almost done. The vehicles are pretty much done. Now I'm working on the infantry. We've got 3 M1s. I'm sorry, M1s. Oh my God. Sorry about that. 3 M60s, which I had to fabricate my own ERA panels for, because the Ryan's Leathernecks kits don't come with those.
Okay.
Yeah, nor should they, because again, Ryan Leathernecks is for Team Yankee. That's from the 1980s.
Yeah.
I'm trying to use these for a slightly different purpose. So nothing against the kit, But in order to use them for this other purpose, I had to make some new pieces for it. The ERA panels that go on the M60 battle tanks, of course, the 5 LAVs I have and the LAV platoon. I did 3 of them with the normal LAV 25 millimeter automatic cannon turrets, and then instead, in addition to that, I did one with the ITV tow boom that you see on some of the M113s of the period. Those come with LAVs as well, so I did one like that. I did one as a mortar carrier, and then it also comes with 6 Humvees. I should say the M60s and the Humvees come in one kit, the LAVs come in another kit, and then I had to buy the infantry in the third kit. So I got those 3 done. Like I said, the vehicles are pretty much complete. And now I'm about halfway through the infantry. I got 6 colors down on the infantry so far, which is kind of tough on 15 mil. Mm-hmm. But 6 colors on them down so far. Now I'm going to do sort of my approximation of 1991 Desert Storm American BDU camouflage. So far, that's coming out really good on the crewmen of the vehicles, but that was like 6 guys. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and do that for like 55 infantry. It's going to be another. It's going to be another question because it's really tedious. What they call it, like that chocolate chip camouflage or whatever. Yeah, trying to do that in 15 mil is not easy on the eye. It's not easy on the brain. But it's coming out pretty good so far. And then I'll be moving over to my Iraqis. I've also finally got some parts in for my boat that I've been working on forever. My boat had to go on hold for a while because I wanted to put twin 20 millimeter automatic cannons on the back of that boat. This boat was an old SeaWorld toy I bought on a trip to SeaWorld of all places. It used to be like some kind of like Greenpeace whale rescue boat or something.
You turned it into an article of war from Greenpeace. Hilarious.
Well, I took off the little cannon. Well, that's what they called it. On the front of the boat, it's like perfect 20 millimeter scale, so it goes with my other moderns. Most of my moderns are in 20 millimeter, not 15. But it fits like perfect 20 millimeter. Like the pilot house has windows and doors on it, and you put my 20 millimeter figures next to the windows and doors, and it fits perfectly. So I said, I'll turn this into a 20 millimeter moderns boat. It's on the thread. It's all been painted. I built 2 additional little 50 caliber gun positions up on the roof of the pilot house, one to port, one to starboard. I have a swivel twin 50 calibers on the bow, and that came out really good. I'm just hoping I can repeat that one more time with these 220s, nice. 20 millimeters. And if I can do that, I'm gonna have a nice little. I mean, it's not any kind of an official military boat, but it's going to be a badass little miniature. So yeah, I'm trying to stay busy with hobby. It's been a very lean year for me on hobby. I'm trying to get back into it with mixed results. These American Marines finally came out, although there were some parts that I had to do 2 and 3 times over because painting desert vehicles is actually pretty damn difficult. In particular, the washing desert vehicles is no picnic. You can't do it the normal way. You can't just, spray it with some sort of a gloss and then paste it with your wash and expect it to come out looking right. It's going to come out looking extremely dirty and cloudy because it's on a lighter base. Uh-huh. Sand or khaki color or whatever is very different than doing something on jungle green or anything like that. But yeah, I've got some more Beats TR-60s in and some Iraqi infantry I have in. I'm going to go ahead and keep building those. Those I've had to source from a couple different places because, again, I'm trying to build an army that no one, to my knowledge, really sells a, buy it in one box kind of a kit for. So I got my Shilkas from Battlefront. I got my T-54s from Battlefront. I've done some T-54s. I slightly upgraded Type 59 version 2s, Chinese knockoffs. There were about 1,500 of those in service for the first Gulf War back in 1991. And again, just a little bit more kit bashing to try and get this close to a 1991 Gulf War sort of a table. And then HK Ops as always. We had another session of that a little while ago. That went really, really well, I think.
Yeah.
Once we got through our typical internet problems. But yeah, things are going pretty good. I've been staying pretty busy, and it might kind of come. I might have to take my foot off the gas pedal a little bit going forward. I'm running out of vacation days. I'm kind of using up all my end of the year vacation days, and of course, the holidays.
Yeah.
The holidays eat up a lot of time. But other than that, yeah, it's been a pretty productive November and early December. So hopefully that continues.
Excellent. So for your Iraqi early Desert Storm, what rule set are you thinking of using to play?
I honestly don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't know yet.
Okay.
I mean, Team Yankee would be the obvious answer. I might start with that because these kits come with all the cards and so on.
Sure.
I've got the basic Team Yankee rulebook. And I don't know. I may just use them for photos. Because honestly, if you wanted to do a 1990 war in miniature, first of all, I mean, probably not. But if you had to do it in miniature, it would be in 6.
Yeah.
10 at the most. 15 is big. So, I mean, these miniatures are great. I'm gonna put them in my display case or whatever. I can maybe use them for photos, for either articles or op centers or who knows what going forward. But using them on a table, I mean, certainly not all of them. I might use like a little, That's why I am building a lot of infantry. I'm building like 50 or so American infantry and at least 50, maybe 75 Iraqi infantry.
Sure.
And then maybe like a tank or 2 on each side. Obviously, I'm not building the big 73 East thing, U.S. 7th Corps stuff that take place, further out. The British were involved in, I think they called the Battle of Norfolk. All this stuff that was out further out to the west, the big open desert battles. The Marines were over on the east flank, and these were through Khafji in January of 1991, and then through the southern part of Kuwait City, driving toward the airport when Operation Desert Storm started. That actually does have some significance on the table. I think it might actually provide me a little bit of a way out because the lines of sight and the engagement ranges in these more built up areas where the Marines were fighting is the lines of sight are going to be a lot shorter. So I might be able to get a 50 millimeter table put together and not have it look just completely silly or whatever.
Gotcha.
I might use Team Yankee or something of my own for that. Yeah, for the really big desert battles out further west, Medina Ridge, 73 East, things, stuff like that. Yeah, honestly, I would go back to the new updated Panzer leaders like Toshesh Miniatures does.
Okay.
Go back to X counter, so because you're talking about 2,000, 3,000, some cases 4,000 and 5,000 for the new TOWs engagement ranges. You're gonna do that in 15 millimeter. It's gonna be unless there's like some sort of off-board mission or something. Maybe you can kind of get away with it like that, but yeah, we'll see. I do have some Army stuff. I'm also putting together for Desert Storm, and of course I always have my War on Terror 2003 forward stuff in 20 millimeter. So that's mostly U.S. Army. I have a 20 millimeter M1, lots of American infantry, 20 millimeter Bradley, and stuff like that. Again, now I have my 20 millimeter Black Hawk, which is absolutely enormous. I think it's like 15 inches from the tip of the rotor to the tip of the tail boom. It's gigantic. I don't know when I would ever use that as a quote. I say miniature. The damn thing's over a foot long. It's practically a piece of terrain.
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
It's coming together. So we'll see where it goes.
Awesome. So, Gaz, what have you been doing for your week off, spending it here besides eating turkey and shooting guns? What have you been doing hobby-wise?
Well, unfortunately, I've been press-ganged into doing some Harry Potter miniatures. I say unfortunately, actually, they're quite nice models, so I've not minded too much, which has been really cool, but it's not really modern. Been looking at the new miniatures that I brought over. They've been really cool. Really enjoying when I did the research on them, how much effort the guys that have designed White Dragon miniatures have actually put into it.
Yep.
So when I looked at both the British troops and the Taliban, because they currently do these two as their only forces at the moment, you get 3 head options for both forces. So such as you get the para scrim or the normal scrim, or you just get a standard helmet for the British. For the Taliban insurgents, you get a traditional headdress, you get a turban, or you get a face covering. And so it means you can really mix up your force. Even if you're getting the same body sectional models with the head changes, you get some really nice looks. To be honest, it was a really nice way of testing if I wanted to get the models or not myself by buying them for somebody else. This means I'm now going to buy them twice because I do really like what I got. And they are transitioning into some other things as well. They've got the Foxhound vehicle now for the British as a support to get you on site and give you top cover. The Taliban, as is here, have 2 motorcyclists.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And the bikes are really nice. Exactly what you'd expect. You know, a really cheap shot of old rickety thing going up and down the road. And more recently, I spotted the guy at Salute at the show. And there he had an Israeli tank in full resin that was the master. So I think we're going to be seeing some more stuff coming from them. And it's such nice quality stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing more.
Do you know which tank it was that they were?
I didn't, because I only caught a glance at it, to be honest.
Okay.
I could find out, but yes.
Jay, sorry, the White Dragon miniatures, the tank that they showed off as Salute was the Israeli one. Jim, what's it called again? Is it the Merva or something?
The Merkava. I'm having a tough time hearing Gaz. It's probably if it's an Israeli modern tank, it's probably one of the 4 major versions of the Merkava.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was they had a Merkava and they had some Israeli troops as well that they've shown off previously. I think they had them in a case at Salute.
Yeah, that's the ones. So, yeah, they're definitely branching out. They've already got a good baseline. They have a good production process. The models are nice. So, looking forward to seeing more from them for moderns.
Yeah, they're really nice. So, hobby-wise, for this week, since I've been off for most of the week, is, I've been painting up the Taliban. I've done 2 so far from White Dragon. They're the, covered heads. One with a drag-off sniper rifle and just another one with an AKS, I think it is. And they are really nice miniatures. They go together really well. They're pretty clean and crisp on detail. So I'm looking forward to that. But the kind of amazing thing is I haven't been painting them with traditional paints. I've been using the new GW contrast paints. Gaz kind of talked me into buying some, so we bought some, and I've been painting those. So I've painted those up. It takes literally like 15 minutes to paint a mini. Obviously it's not competition standard, but it's good enough for tabletop and it looks good. So the contrast paints, it's a really interesting formula, kind of like a wash inkish type paint. And prior to that, the night before, I painted I did 5-6 mana forces in an hour.
Yeah, you really smashed through them.
So
In 28 mil?
Yeah, 28 mil.
Nice.
Yeah, so, because we wanted to try and do a test play of a rule set we're going to talk about here shortly about those. So I've painted up some MENA forces. For anybody who doesn't know what MENA is, it's Middle East, North Africa. And so I did some Taliban. And I did a test paint of a traditional, what do they call it? Well, it's the Zulu War British. I think they call it the Anglo-Zulu War, to be politically correct, but the Zulu War. I did Color Sergeant Bourne just to see how the colors laid down, and they look really great.
I mean, it's going to get you to the table really quickly.
Yeah.
And you can still go over them after. With layer paints, if you're not happy with the final standard, you can just do some highlights, bring them up even further. But to get you to the table, especially like Jim, yourself, you were talking about how many you need to do.
I was going to say, anything that can help me paint large numbers of infantry quickly. I love painting tanks. I hate painting troops. Yeah.
But so we did discover one thing. These contrast paints are really made for deep detailed, especially like miniatures, troops, that stuff.
Yeah.
I would not use them on vehicles because you're going to get a muddy, brush strokey. I mean, we bought them medium to help smooth things out, but for large panels and stuff, I would not use it. It just would not come out right. You have to go back to traditional paints.
If you are working on modern military vehicles, even in 15 mil, even in 10 mil, I've never really tried one in 10 mil. I have some 10 mil I'm going to start painting. But even in 15 mil, you have to use an airbrush.
Yeah.
An airbrush is always like a nice addition, because modern vehicles, I mean, you look at most of them, even Soviet vehicles, they have those round domed turrets. The sides of the BTR, the big flat panels on the BMPs, and of course anything Western. The Leopard, the Challenger, the Abrams, big, wide, flat panels, and almost everything now is in a desert color. which means light colors, which means it is going to be completely unforgiving in mistakes in wash, especially brush strokes. You have to do it with an airbrush.
Yes,
You
most
really do.
definitely.
Yeah.
I have not tried
Yeah,
putting
definitely.
contrast through an airbrush yet.
I know it does go through airbrushes. There have been reviews on that.
How's that?
It just doesn't sit like you would expect from the contrast paint in the normal brush process. It sits like any other spray paint would. It's even on all surfaces
okay.
rather than contrasting.
So yeah, we'll have to check that out. But the contrast paints, if you're looking to do a lot of minis in a short period of time to a tabletop standard, I definitely would recommend them. So far so good. And it's kind of hard for me to say that because I've never been a big fan of GW paints. I don't like the pots because I spill them all the time. But when
Yeah,
you're at
I'm definitely not a fan of the pot. I've got a bunch here because there's on the White Dragon Miniature, I think it was on the White Dragon Miniatures Facebook page, there was a guy posted up some paint, some of them painting a full set of the Brits with the scrim helms. And I like the camo scheme, so I went and he put a list up of the paints he used and how he did it. There's a guide.
Okay.
So I went and bought the Games Workshop because he used Games Workshop, so I went and bought those colours because I wanted them matched. Because I tried to match them with Vallejo and it wasn't as good. So that I've got the SAS Rural with a sniper team primed in the base, Zandri Dust ready to go over the top with to do the camo scheme on with them.
Sure.
Because I thought that works. It's better than doing another set of Spectre miniatures with green multicam. I'm getting tired of looking at green multicam to try and paint it.
Yeah.
Well, I've got about 75 Iraqis I can send over to you. You don't have to do those in green.
No, thank you, Jim. I've got it. I've draw full sitting here. I have 28mm Spectre minis to paint, including that. But I do agree with what Jim said there about any vehicle. Airbrush is a godsend. When I did that Humvee, when I got that very first airbrush, I got the test one with the little compressor. That's what I did that Humvee in, and it's only two colours. It was a base green and then a khaki over the top to do the striped camo. The airbrush was a lifesaver. I couldn't have done that.
Yeah, you definitely got to do an airbrush.
As a
matter of fact,
with anything other than airbrush.
Today, after we're done, at some point today, I promised Gaz I'd take him through basic airbrushing because he's interested in getting one. So I'm going to let him try using one of my airbrushes and giving it a playthrough. So yes, definitely, if you're doing any kind of vehicles, you really should use an airbrush. It helps with undercoating and stuff too. Depending on what you're doing. So I love my airbrushes. And right now, Badger Airbrush is getting ready for their 56th birthday sale. I haven't seen it. It's supposed to start already, but I haven't seen a notice on it yet. Where you can buy any airbrush for $56.
Nice.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Sold, I think, is my term for that.
Sold
Needing an airbrush and that being the case, I think they've just sold their first one.
So I gotta check back on my email, see if I've got the link yet. So if you guys are interested in airbrush, now's the time to get into a Badger airbrush. Now the only downside to it is it's going to take several months for you to get it because they hand build them as they order them. And like last year's sale, I didn't get my airbrushes. I ordered them in December. I didn't get them until April or May. Because they build all of it, and they had an enormous amount of orders. So, but for $55 as last year's sale, you couldn't beat it for something that normally runs twice, if not even more than that. So, I'm really looking forward to that. So we did the White Dragon miniatures. So if you're looking for some good Taliban or British, definitely check out White Dragon miniatures. Nice clean resins. I liked them a lot. I ordered, like I said, I just got some Spectre Rangers, U.S. Rangers. So I'll be painting those up. What else did we do this week? Oh, so we played Lock and Load Tactical Day of Heroes. That's the Mogadishu set. Gaz read the rules and kind of took me through it. The rules were a little bit... What would you say?
There's a lot of rules to it. Once you've got it rolling, you're not too bad. But just getting through that first stage of, if you're learning the rules yourself, you just need to stick with it. And then as soon as you sit down for that first game, it all starts to come together.
Yeah. And we definitely learned a few things. One, get the X maps if you can. Now, the X maps are the extra large version of the map that comes in the game itself. It allows you to put your counters in the same square, but you don't have to stack them, so you can see them a little bit better, and the graphics are a little better. It's just gives a better gameplay experience. And then Gaz played the Somalis,
Yep.
and I played the Rangers, and I had a Ranger and I had a down to air crew. It was a race to the aircraft, in 6 turns and yada yada yada. And I made it barely in 6 turns because he had to capture the helicopter and hold it till the end of this turn, or just by numbers.
Yeah, turn 5, I came in, managed to take out the downed crew because
Yep.
they were an easy target. And get on site, but there is also a Spec Ops sniper in position.
Yeah, there was a Delta sniper.
Yeah, he lit me up.
Sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah, right. So my Rangers had to start from basically several streets away, and we had to fight through the city just like in the story. And I had a Delta sniper that was with the air crew, and the rules said the air crew could not leave the crash site. But they were very exposed on the middle of the road, so I took the Delta sniper and I put him in the building just kitty corner from the crash site, so he had a better range and area of fire and to protect it. But the problem was, there were so many Somalis, and he came around and did a flanking maneuver and came up behind me and then took out the air crew because their attack factor and stuff was not that great, and by that time, but we made the Somalis pay for it. So, they did pay for it, and we ended up winning the game in the last turn. So, it's a really good game. I'm looking forward to playing some more on that.
Yeah, they have an interesting use of mobs. There's actually large gangs of Somali civilians that the Americans, if they engage them, the mob disperses, or if they move onto their square and finish on their square, the mob will melee against them, or they can even move through them, in which case they disperse as well. But if they disperse by any means, the Somalis gain a victory point.
Yeah.
So you got these 4 mobs that are kind of keeping you off the roads because I control them, so I can limit the angles of movement and force you through harder, lower sort of terrain features that mean that your movement's not as far as it should be. And that will slow you down based on a 6-turn game. That's critical. So once I got used to how to move the mobs, they were really useful as an asset for the Somalians.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So, looking forward to doing some more of that. And then today, at some point, Gaz and I are going to play a game of Panzer Blitz. So,
What?
yep.
Wait a minute, Jan, you're playing Panzer Blitz and I'm not there?
I know, right?
You've officially cheated on me, Jan. We're done. We are done. I don't know you anymore.
Just as well as when you mentioned Lock and Load Tactical, that sort of clicked something in my brain. That's the same company, Lock and Load Publishing, are behind Storming the Gap, which was the Kickstarter I backed.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Which is World at War 85, which is the Hex encounter. The Hex basically storming the gap, so it's Russia rolling over Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's shipped, actually, I think. I keep getting these notifications this past week of Kickstarters finally shipping.
Well, I've got a few I'm still waiting on, so hopefully we'll see some movement soon. But so we're going to play a little Panzer Blitz today.
So you're playing Panzer Blitz out of the box?
Out of the box, Jim. Straight out of the box.
Oh, it's not going to be... okay.
Yeah, we're just going to do the intro scenario, so because he's never played it, and it's been a long time since I've played. So just going to play it right out of the box. So...
Cool.
Yeah, and if you have your Jim Oriskany updated rule set, we'll always be happy to try that out too. Because I know you made several tweaks to the rules. So
yeah, it's pretty much just Arab. There's just a couple. I believe opportunity fire rules in Panzer Blitz are an optional rule. Just please take that optional.
Okay.
You almost have to, because when a Panzer Blitz was originally published in 1970. Of course, there was no internet back days, but they used to have, I'm sure you remember, the General magazine.
Yes, yeah.
And some of the other gaming magazines that were around back in the day. And it's picked up an unfortunate nickname called Panzer Bush. Yeah, because people would be able to, it's not a perfect game. It's really the first game of its kind. It came out almost 50 years ago, so it's up there in age. As far as game systems go, and so it has to be kind of looked at through that lens. But if you don't use the opportunity fire rules, if you cannot fire during the enemy's movement phase, the enemy will, it becomes very easy for players, even if they don't mean to really abuse the terrain system. Where it's like, I'm in the woods, I'm out of the woods, I'm in the woods, I'm out of the woods, I'm in the woods, you can never see me, even though you're right in front of me 200 meters away. Every hex is 250 meters. And it leads to some very unfortunate results. Some of the way the artillery system